All right, so thank you both for taking the time to come out tonight and speak directly to voters. I'd like to start off with an opening statement, and I was hoping to start with Tony, if you're ready.
Sure. Thank you all. I'm Tony Byrd, Superintendent of Summit School District. It's an honor to be here tonight. It's an honor to be your superintendent. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Steve, for the conversation. I'm here to talk about what is most important, in my opinion, for our students. Many of our students are simply not buying an education built for the industrial era. It is time to move to a learning system that is future forward, one that excites students to engage more deeply and by getting their hands on it, on the learning. That's happening around the country, it's happening in Colorado, and it needs to be happening more in Summit County. I'd ask you to imagine a day when our students, perhaps your children, are running to school to learn across 7 pathways by applying their knowledge and building those skills and building homes and snowboards and skis and pitching their ideas. I'd ask you to imagine a snowy peaks next to the high school campus and a mini campus model where those students are also getting access to career and technical education, again across 7 pathways. I'd also like you to imagine a new Breckenridge Elementary for which career and technical education and honors will be a model there as well, and honors a long-time commitment in this district to community center schools. The bond will do that. Envision schools that have HVAC systems and playgrounds, a track that meets the needs of students and doesn't have a giant crack across it where students can get hurt. Imagine that this bond does that and also keeps your kids safer by providing really fast internet security. Now imagine that the Summit School District is a place that current and future staff can actually come to stay and afford to be here. With that, I look forward to speaking with you more.
Thank you, Tony. And Steve, you'll also have 2 minutes to share an opening statement.
And good evening, great to be here. So if most of you don't know who I am, I've been a teacher, I've been a coach, assistant principal, athletic director, principal, and a superintendent. I've been involved with public schools for 43 years, with the last 21 being a school superintendent in 2 states, Wisconsin and Colorado. I've never thought I'd be in this position tonight. I've always fought for our public schools. I've passed 5 ballot issues for the districts I work for. This is something I typically want to support, but because of the way the school board has proceeded, I can't support this ballot issue. Missed and willfully ignored opportunities just don't work for me or this community. Let's have a more open conversation to see a different way to support our students, our staff, and our community. Continued tax increases will hurt our community by forcing young families to leave with their children, and the school district will continue to have declining enrollment. In case you didn't see the October 4th Summit Daily, there were 250 people and businesses that were listed as delinquent with property taxes. It will only get worse. Our school board took action this past August to put 4A on the ballot. I believe they either placed the action item in the consent agenda list to hide it, or they weren't thinking. You don't hide a $195 million ballot proposal with 6 other items in a consent agenda. The public has the right to know about the biggest ballot issue ever. You do realize there was never a story in the Summit Daily about that. That was because it was hidden. I called the Summit Daily in September to confirm that. If you were either at the district presentations in August, you saw that the board, the presentations included that the bonds would be for 20 or 30 years. No one had an answer to the concern I had. That concern is you can't have the same payoff of $13 a month when it's a 10-year spread. As I eventually found out, it's for 25 years. The board has missed opportunities to save money. One example is they hired a bond counsel without bids. Nothing illegal. The only problem is you couldn't save the money.
Steve, you have more time to speak.
Okay, I do.
But appreciate the opening statement.
Thank you.
All right, and now we will go into five questions about the 5 different aspects of this ballot measure. And so, Tony, I'd like to start off with you. What arguments do you have for or against the $46 million plan to develop 60 units of below market rate housing for district staff, and why? No, you can.
Hold on one sec. Okay, all right, good. For sure, so let's just say that number one, you can't expect an exceptional education in schools without great teachers and great staff to stay for the long haul. And we have a 48% turnover, but we have 48% of our staff who said they will leave in the next 5 years if we don't support housing. We also did a housing survey for our staff, and it suggested we need 170 units over the next 5 years. No superintendent I know wanted to get involved in housing, yet Eagle, Roaring Fork, Aspen, Telluride, now Summit School District is all in on this question. And so our argument is that we absolutely need to have a place, 1, 2, and 3 bedroom homes for staff, 60 rental units in Silverthorne on our land to support affordable housing for staff so they can come, stay, and be here for the long haul, any staff member.
Thank you, Tony. And Steve, you'll have a minute to answer the same question. Do you want me to repeat it?
No, I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
Staff housing is another concern that should be done in conjunction with the county and the city. The cost for each rental is $750,000, and that's outrageous. The district is planning to limit the rentals so that the staff members don't have to pay over 30% of their annual salary. Vail charges their staff 40% of the staff. This is all on websites. I'm very confident that our community has many families paying more than 40% for their homes in their salary. Our teachers deserve a fair salary, but when compared to many in our community, members are already paid well, our teachers. The beginning teacher is $54,000, the highest salary is $114,000 with full benefits. Continued property tax increases by the district are not sustainable. Death by 1,000 cuts. This is another reason to vote no.
Thank you, Steve. And now for the second question, I'd like to ask about what arguments do you have for or against the $47 million plan to demolish and rebuild Breckenridge Elementary School?
Quite a few. First of all, Breckenridge is not in great shape. There's a facility conditions index that suggests that Breckenridge is in the red. You have green, yellow, and red. Red meaning it's time to make a decision. The decisions can be tear it down, build new, combine with upper blue. We looked at all of those, and we looked at all of those for a long period of time with many community meetings. 16% of the voters supported that were polled, combining with upper blue. The cost of that was over $20 million. The cost to to renovate Breckenridge was $26 million. We looked at that and thought that was like putting into a used car, and eventually we would have to decide what to do with it. And we decided the best option, based on community input, was to build new, and that the students of Breckenridge Elementary deserve that. And so that school is on the ballot new. And again, just to clarify, the ballot is $13 a month on $1 million home.
Thank you, Tony. And Steve, same question?
I agree, the plan does need to be done to remedy Breckenridge Elementary, but the board has not done any forward thinking. The town of Breckenridge is planning to build 100 workforce homes just north of Upper Blue. From my professional experience, most of those homes will have young children and young families in there. Expanding the Upper Blue would be a major cost savings to the board, $15 million. Expand the Upper Blue now and close the Breckenridge Elementary. Consolidating the two schools will save $1.5 million a year in operational costs. Otherwise, the board will be asking for more rounds to eventually expand Upper Blue in the near future. Home development is shifting to the north, not to the south. This would leave a new school almost empty at the old Breck, or students from the north will be bused right past Upper Blue to go to an almost empty school. Vote no, please.
Thank you, Steve. And now we'll move on to our third question. What arguments do you have for or against the $37 million plan to rebuild and relocate Snowy Peaks Junior Senior High School?
At the core of this entire bond is about providing students with hands-on learning across 7 core areas: business, marketing, and entrepreneurship, computer science, engineering, advanced manufacturing, health sciences, natural resources, outdoor leadership, skilled trades, human services, and education. Those all align perfectly with Colorado Mountain College, and they are all what we call our pathways. Snowy Peaks has graduated 100% of their students for 10 years in a row. They have a very lacking facility, and they are very far from the current technical education opportunities that will be provided in this move of Snowy Peaks to high school. The students have said to me very clearly that they would like this, and in my opinion, they deserve it just as much as any other student.
Thank you, Tony. And Steve, same question.
A replacement building for Snowy Peaks is part of this plan. This program is essential to successful school districts and to high school, but because every student does not learn the same way. The school currently has 125 students. That's 10% of the high school enrollment. This is a large number considering the size of our high school. The district wants to expand so that more students have an alternative education option. My professional experience is that the regular classroom teachers need to teach using differentiated instruction strategies so they can meet the needs of each student. The district needs to meet the students' needs at Summit High School, pulling them in, not pushing them away to an alternative program. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And then the next question is, what arguments do you have for or against the $32 million plan to build a new hub for the district's career and technical programs?
I think a lot of people here have heard about the tiny house that was built by Oakley Van Oss. If you drive by the high school, you'll see that sitting out in the snow, which is where they built it. One part of this argument is to have them have the kind of space they need to build that inside, big, flexible space. You probably know about the snowboards and skis that are built at the high school in a very tiny space. We're talking about providing the kinds of spaces you'll find in Durango, St. Vrain, Littleton, Canyon City, Poudre, all across the state where students are walking in and working on hands-on learning in open, flexible spaces. And that, I can tell you, the students tell me routinely as a superintendent that they are not particularly excited about coming to school. We're talking about a paradigm shift in learning that will connect them to the larger community, have them very excited, and give them the kind of credentials and credits to prepare them for life after high school.
Thank you, Tony. Same question, Steve.
CT is not a new educational experiment. It's been going on since the 90s. And this expense of this program is more than just the building. There will be ongoing expenses for equipment and materials. This type of advanced skills education should be the responsibility of a technical college or a Colorado Mountain College, financed by the state ed system. The board, I believe, is missing an excellent opportunity to collaborate with Colorado Mountain College. In case you don't know, the district has already stated they want another property tax increase within a couple of years for their operational expenses. This means for staff salaries. 80% of the budget is spent on staffs. Again, death by 1,000 cuts.
All right, and we also have, at the end, you'll be able to respond to anything that you may want to in your closing argument, but I have one more question, and it surrounds the $33.6 million plan for maintenance across the district. So I just wanted to hear your arguments for and against that, Tony.
Sure. I mean, I think anyone who's had an athlete in this district who's a runner, let's take Ella Hagan, world class, probably world class, at least state class, country class, is running on a concrete slab with big cracks in it. We're going to fix that. We're HVAC systems that need to be addressed. We're going to fix that. We have carpeting and paint and fire safety that we need to fix that as well. And I think one of the things that most people, the number one issue that most people come to me about is physical safety of their students. And our internet speed and access is not great, and it makes us worried about making sure every single kid is safe. And so this will also increase our internet speed and access so that we can respond to physical safety concerns, which are our number one priority. So, and then every school in elementary, or nearly every school, have a playground upgrade as well. I'm sure the students will love that. And then I'll close with, because I can see my time ticking here, we will also have a locker room enhancement, so particularly the girls at the high school actually have a place they can go change, not in the cold. And we will be addressing the turf.
That's time. And then Steve, if you'd like to respond.
The first step that I would take is to address this issue would be that the district would then sell the Breckenridge Elementary land to a developer. How much would that be worth? Millions, I would say. This would be a windfall to put towards facilities. This could save most of the 33 million budget items that we were talking about right now, and that's what's in the plan. Okay, got lost there. Sorry. Again, saving taxpayer money, not raising property taxes, and addressing a major need at the same time. The district continues to irresponsibly deficit spend and ongoing expenses such as salaries for the 3 years. The spending behavior will result in the district going broke sooner than later, and a one-time expense for facilities, which is justifiable, won't affect the bond rating. The district could lose their excellent bond rating due to this excellent spending, this reckless spending. This will make the district pay higher interest rates on the 25-year payoff of the bonds if we continue this rate. That is the taxpayers' money, not the board's. Again, you can see this in Moody's bond rating, how this is going to happen.
Thank you. And we have a bit of extra time that we saved just through the process. So if you guys would like, you could each have 3 minutes to speak on your closing arguments. And Steve, we'll start with you on this one.
That'd be great. All right. I've learned that the district only began planning for this bond issue in August of 2023. This late start, wanting to proceed carelessly, made the district miss the application deadlines for the BEST grant. The BEST grant could have provided the district with up to $10 million to reduce the cost of the board's plan. This is irresponsible planning. I've learned that the committee planners didn't feel that this grant was worth pursuing at this time. Don't know about you, but a chance to get $10 million to reduce taxes and property tax is a big deal to me. On behalf of the taxpayers, the board should have tried to do this. Either getting the grant or not, you at least know for how much this is really going to be asked from the public. This would also be an excellent selling point for the referendum as well. Yes, maybe the board will try in a year or two for this grant. If this is so, what amount are you asking for? 195 million, 185, or some other number? You shouldn't be asking for more than what you need. This is not the way to run a bond. Another reason to vote no for this issue. If you pass this ballot measure before you apply for this grant, it shows the grant committee that you have the money and you don't need financial support. You will have wasted your time. I've demonstrated a savings of at least 30 million on what I've talked about tonight. This is a lot of money and it would save the taxpayer. I've learned that the Summit County School Education Association is neutral on this whole plan. To me, this means there are many staff members who want a different plan. This is another reason to vote no. If the employees aren't on board, our community shouldn't be either. I've always fought for our public schools, passing 5 ballot issues for the districts I've worked for. I've always defended public schools within a community. This is something I typically want to support, but because of the way the school board has proceeded, I can't support this ballot issue. I ask everybody to vote no on 4A. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And Tony, 3 minutes.
You bet. Thank you very much. A couple of key points I want to make sure people know. One is our school district has a AAA bond rating. There's 178 districts in the state of Colorado. There's 2 at that rating, and we're one of them. We have over 7 years straight clean audits, and we have gathered a lot of community input on this bond over time. So I just want to clarify that. With regard to the BEST grant, a few things I'd like to point out. There are BEST grants. They were last year, or 2016-17, we, after the bond, applied for a BEST grant. The school district had to pay $4.9 million of $6.1 million, so we received $1.2 million out of that 6.1 million. Last year, 24-25, as a sense of perspective, 19 districts were awarded, 17 of those were for safety and security and under $4 million. So you need those facts are pretty important. If we pass the bond, we very much will consider going for a BEST grant as a supplement to the bond. I think that is incredibly important. I don't want to be disrespectful, it's not your district anymore, Mr. Scheill, but I do want to point out that Montrose, where you were the superintendent, is now asking for a $198 million bond that includes a new high school and did not seek best funding for this. So in my closing arguments, on top of that, I'd just like to say, I'd like to recenter the students for a moment. The students of Summit County, all of them, including the students of Snowy Peaks, deserve hands-on, connected to practical application learning opportunities that are directly aligned with Colorado Mountain College. It is not accurate that we don't partner with Colorado Mountain College. We partner with them all the time. Dave Askell was at our board meeting explaining that last week, who runs Colorado Mountain College here in Breckenridge. The building of exceptional career and technical education spaces across 7 pathways that I named will provide our students with the kind of hands-on connected learning that's already happening in districts across Colorado. We have the chance, given the community's investment in this county, to be the very best school district in the Rocky Mountains. And to do that, we have to move forward. Breckenridge elementary students deserve a space that models the type of hands-on learning and a space that is safe and is not in the red on the facility conditions index. All of our students and families deserve to have a super safe school with working high-speed internet and playgrounds that give the chance to enjoy the wonders of our surroundings. And all staff deserve to be able to live here to support learning over the long haul. We do all these things. I'd like to argue to you that your students and the students that we work with will have the best school district in the Colorado Rockies.
Thank you both for joining us tonight to share all that with the voters, and appreciate you both. If we can get a round of applause for these two.